You ever notice how the best conversations usually start when nobody planned them? Like, hear me out. You're not sitting there with a notebook and a strategy and some perfect little outline. It just happens. Somebody says one thing, then somebody else says something real or something else. And the next thing you know, you're talking about life. You're talking about work pressure, maybe something you regret, maybe some of your dreams, discipline, urban, or just dumb decisions you made way back when. And somehow it all makes sense. That's kind of what this whole show is for me. This is what it's about. So let's get into this one. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Garage Mind. I'm Tony, as always. And if you're new here, first off, I appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. Seriously. And if you've been here rocking with me the whole time, love you even more. Because that means you already know what we're doing here. We're not chasing polished nonsense. We're not trying to sound like a corporate podcast with a ring light and fake bullshit and smiles and all that good stuff. We're trying to have real conversations. That's what it's about for me. Real conversations. We're talking about real life and figure some things out along the way. I want you guys to leave here thinking, oh man, I never thought about it that way. And, that's what it's about for me. It's about real conversations. I feel like a lot of us are involved in our phones and not paying attention to each other. And I feel like that's a big part of us as people, man. We're supposed to be, we're supposed to have conversations. We're supposed to conversate with each other. And I feel like real conversation is a thing of the past. We don't really do any of that. Kind of just in our own worlds. We just do our own things. Don't even pay attention to other people. And today I wanted to do a solo podcast because it's been a little bit since I did it. Because sometimes I feel like the best way to connect with you guys, to connect with all of us, is to just sit down and be honest and, talk straight from the chest, straight from my mind, straight to you. Um, because, I like doing the interviews as well too, but I just feel like it's more deeper conversation when I'm just talking to just you guys. And I love doing the solo podcast as well. No guests, no big production, no overthinking it. Just me, you, and a good conversation and what's ever on our mind today. And what's on my mind today is this: curiosity. I love fueling my curiosity. Curiosity fuels my soul. And curiosity is one of those most powerful things. I think it's one of the most powerful things a person can do, can keep alive. I believe that all of us have to keep fueling our curiosity. Can't talk today. Our curiosity and keeping it alive, because that to me, I really believe that. I think curiosity is underrated as hell. You hear people talk about discipline. Some people talk about confidence, consistency. Definitely, they talk about motivation, and all that matters. Don't get me wrong, but curiosity is that thing underneath a lot of that. Because if you're curious, you want to learn, you want to keep improving, you want to understand others. If you're curious, brother, you keep growing instead of shrinking into the same routine forever. You know what I mean? We keep motivated. We keep doing the things we want to do. Curiosity fuels everything, I think. It can, it fuels all the stuff I just talked about. And let's be real. A lot of people get stuck there. You just keep doing the same bullshit routine. And it's not because you're lazy, and it's not because, you don't want to, not because you're stupid, not because they don't have potential. I believe they just stop being curious. That's the problem. They stop asking questions. They stop paying attention. They stop wondering what else is possible. And once that happens, life gets small real fast, guys. You just start moving through the same motions every day. Just bleh, every day. Same shit, different day. You have the same routine, the same fucking complaints, the same dumb habits, same fake conversations just walking by, same worn out fucking excuses. And just the same version of yourself every day. It doesn't change. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want that. I never want to be the guy who stops evolving and stops wondering and stops being curious. I don't want to be mentally dead while I'm still breathing. You know what I mean? That's why curiosity means so much to me because it keeps me awake to life. It keeps me present. It keeps me from just clocking in, clocking out mentally. And honestly, that matters more than people think because I've had plenty of long days. Nothing new. Do it all the time. I've had days where I'm just, I'm tired before the day even begins or before the day even starts. In fact, that's almost every day now for me. I'm always tired. I've had days where I'm juggling work, content, this podcast, family stuff, just in general life stuff. And the whole thing feels like I'm carrying 500 grocery bags at once and one of them is leaking. And you know what I mean about carrying grocery bags, especially when you were young, you were a kid, you were like, see how many you could carry at once. You grab like 15 fucking bags on one hand and 10 on another, and you just try to get to your car. I don't know why we play that game. Um, we just we all play that game, how many bags we get in. I don't know if it's us being lazy because we don't want to come back, but we all do it. It drives me nuts. I don't even know why I do it. But anyway, even on those days where the day's just long and it's too much, curiosity keeps me moving. Just does. Curiosity makes me ask, what story can I tell today on the podcast? What can I learn from this person? May it be at work or just passing by or a customer? Or what can I notice that I usually ignore? These are some of the questions that are, you know, going through my head. And some other ones like what's actually behind the way people act? That's what I love. It's one of the questions I love to figure out. Or why does bourbon, hit better? Why do some hit good and some hit different? Why are some vanilla or some, this is the curiosity, man. You see what I'm saying? It keeps the wheels turning. You know, I even find myself finding like why do some people connect instantly, why others never do? We have some people that just don't like to connect. Some people that like to keep to themselves. And then there's moments where why do some, moments stay with us forever while others disappear before lunch or before the day begins? There's things I could remember from when I was, probably 4 years old and I can't even remember what I ate yesterday. That this is the kind of stuff that I think about. Maybe a little too much. Maybe I shouldn't think about it, but I love it. That's me. That's how, that's what this show is for me. And to me, the Garage Mind has always been about more than just interviews. It's about the stuff underneath the interview. It's about the human part, the part people usually skip because, they're too busy trying to look good online or at work or their job or, wherever or, you know, but I'm not really interested in perfect. I'm interested in real. I'm interested in the story behind the faces, the story of how they got there, the journey. That's what it's about for me, and why things are some of the way they are. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the dude who works a brutal job all week, but still finds a way to train or build something or take care of his people, whether it be family or friends, his parents, or the guy that just keeps the dream alive when it would be easier to just shut it down and say, I'll deal with it later. I'm interested in, you know, the man or woman who's grinding through life, holding everything together and still somehow has time to laugh about the chaos. That's the stuff I'm interested in. I'm interested in the person who went through some hell. Just I mean some, rough beginnings or rough middle or something rough, just, something terrible. And he or she came out on the other side and still has a sense of humor about it or still has, that shining light that got them to where they're at. That's the kind of energy I fucking love because you can learn a lot from some people. From people, if you actually listen, that's the problem. Most people don't listen. And I mean, really listen. Not listen like you're waiting for your turn to talk. Not listen like you're trying to sound smart or like that surface level listening. Like, not listen like you're already thinking about what you're going to say next. I do that a lot. Actually, I think about what I'm going to say next. I mean, if you actually listen like you care, because that changes everything. That's probably one of the biggest things I've learned doing this whole podcast content thing. Everybody wants to be heard, but not everybody wants to listen. And that's a problem because if you actually listen to people, people will tell you exactly who they are. They'll tell you what matters to them. They will tell you what they're proud of. They'll tell you what they're ashamed of. They'll tell you what they're thinking. They'll tell you, maybe what they're going through. Just listening. They'll tell you what keeps them going. And that's where the real gold is for me. That's the stuff that sticks. That's the stuff people connect to. That's why I keep coming back to this format because there's something about sitting down and really, really letting a conversation breathe. That feels way more powerful than trying to force a viral moment. That one moment that probably didn't even mean anything. It was effortless. Don't force it. Just sitting here and finding the real gold for yourself. That's what matters to me. And don't get me wrong. I love a good clip. I love a good short. And I love making content that pops. Trust me, I do it all the time. I love it. But the real foundation is the deeper conversation, the conversations that make somebody say, damn, Tony, I felt that. Or man, I needed to hear that today. Or I never thought about it like that. Or even that one guy or woman is, is kind of just like me. Everything they were saying, I'm kind of like that. Or, we're worlds apart or different walks of life, but we're the same. That's cool to me. That's what I want this show to do more and more. That's what I'm trying to build here, guys. That's what I hope you're getting out of it. Um, and if you're following this on YouTube, guys, do me a favor, like, subscribe, follow, and hit the comments and let me know what you like about the Garage Mind and let me know what you don't like about the Garage Mind. either, I love to hear both sides of it because it only helps me get better. And like I said, I appreciate you guys being here as well. But that's what I want the Garage Mind to feel like, a place where people come in and out, not to put on a performance, not to be fake, not some guru bullshit, a place where blue collar people like me, true blue collar people feel seen, feel heard, a place for us, a place where people with weird schedules and hard jobs, side hustles, big dreams that never stop dreaming are understood. A place where people can say real stuff without having to water it down. Because let's be honest, life is already fucking hard enough. People are working long hours. People are trying to keep families together. People are dealing with money, stress. I mean, people are all dealing with trying to stay healthy. People are trying to figure out what the hell they're doing with their lives. We've all went through it. Maybe some of us listening are still going through it. I mean, it never really ends. I mean, until we die, at least. People are trying to make content, make money, make progress, make peace, make time for everybody in their lives, make sense of everything. We think, sometimes it's those deeper questions. When you look up to the sky and you see all those stars and you wonder, are we the only ones here? Or sometimes it's just a reset with a nice bourbon. You want to sit back and enjoy a bourbon, and I want to share it with you guys. Or um, when I do the interviews, I like to find passionate people because I love talking to passionate people. And if you follow the show, I've said that before. When you talk to somebody with passion, with real passion, they just talk about it and they light up, and you love to hear about their passion, and you get pumped. I get goosebumps when somebody explains something, especially if I never knew about the topic and they just tell me what they do. And man, and I just love it. It could be fucking rock collecting. I don't care. If they're passionate and they're real, I love that. And then at the end of the day, I just had a real conversation with somebody that I would have maybe never met. But because of this podcast, because I want to give you guys good content and good interviews, I've just met somebody that I'm friends with now, and or that has taught me a lesson or has taught me something new or a different look on life. And I love that. And that's what I want this podcast to be for you guys as well. You know, and like I said, with all of this, that's a lot. We're all dealing with a lot. So if this show can be a place where people feel a little less alone in that, then I'm doing something right, because that's what I want. And you know, that's where their community part comes in. Because guys, I'm trying to build a community here. I want, you guys to tune in, and I want to build, because community is everything. The bigger community is, that's what makes us better. We have a better community behind us, more people involved. That's what makes things better. It just, when you have honest, real community, that's what it's all about. Whether it's hanging out together, or listening to each other, or listening to this podcast, or, you know, reviewing bourbon together, that's what it's about, community. Because I don't just want listeners. I want, like I told you guys, I want real community. I want people who can comment and actually have a conversation. I want people who can disagree without being weird or aggressive or mean, because we don't all have to see eye to eye, but we also don't have to be jerks about it. You know, I can see something one way and you can see some another way, and we could totally still get along and have a glass of bourbon together or ride some motorcycles together. Like, it doesn't, we don't all have to, we all believe the same things, just be boring. I don't think there's ever really a right and wrong, you know, unless some of them, moral things. Yeah, of course. There's a right and wrong, to me at least. I want people to listen to this that can share their own thoughts, share their own stories. If you guys ever want to do that, get a hold of me. I would love to hear your life journey. Or, if you got a good cause going, or you just got a cool story, let me know. Shoot me a comment, shoot a review with an email or something that I could get a hold of you because, like I said, community is everything. I'd love to talk to you guys about your journey as well. Not you guys just listen to me. I want people to feel like they're a part of something, not just consuming content and disappearing. Guys, come back. We're a part of this. We're a community. That's the dream. It's not for the views. It's not for the likes. It's not for just the numbers on a screen. You guys are people. I'm a person. We're all people. I want people to actually feel connected to this thing, connected to the garage mind, because the garage mind is where I grew and where I became the person I am today. And I just, I want to share that with everybody. I want that sense of belonging. I want that sense of something bigger because for me, I love the feeling of being part of something bigger than myself. And I want that for everybody listening as well. So if you've been listening, watching, sharing, commenting, reviewing, liking, and subscribing on the social medias, thank you guys. Or even if you've just been lurking in the background, I appreciate you guys. God bless. Love you guys more than you'll ever know. And I mean that because every time you tap in, every time you share an episode, every time you comment on something, if you comment something real or even leave a review, you help build this thing with me. That matters to me. That's how this thing grows. That's how the show gets better. That's how the community gets stronger. And honesty, I think more people need to build that kind of thing right now. I think people need more honest community in their lives. You know, we're in a world nowadays where everybody's talking, but not enough people are connecting anymore. I was talking about that earlier. Everybody's posting, but not enough people are listening. Everybody wants an audience, everybody wants to be seen, but not everybody wants community. And that's the real win, community. I want the community. That's the lane for me because a real community will outlast a trend every time. And if you're listening right now to this, I want you to know you're a part of that. Whether you're on your lunch break, in the truck, in the garage, on the couch, or at work, or even on your way to work, cruising on the highway, just flying, maybe over the speed limit, we won't say, or even if you're my favorite part of the day, just winding down, drinking a bourbon, or just trying to get through the day. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. And I want the show to feel like something you could come back to, like a familiar place, like La Familia, like a home, like the kind of conversation you'd have with a friend who's actually gives a damn. Now, let me get a little more personal for a minute. One thing I've realized over time is that curiosity keeps life interesting, but it also keeps you humble. Being humble is a big thing to me. Being in martial arts for so long, being humble is something that means a lot to me. Because the moment you think you've got everything figured out, life usually smacks you upside the head and says, "Relax, buddy." And I think that's good. Um, you know, Being humble can teach you so much in itself. You know, to be humble is everything because you don't have it figured out, and perfection is not a thing, and you'll never be there. So just humble yourself and be happy. You know, and don't ever treat anybody different. Be humble. I think it's good to stay teachable. I think it's good to still be the guy asking questions. I also think it's good to still be the guy who can admit he doesn't know everything. Because, guys, this is what I mean about humbling. You don't know everything and you never will. Because the people who act like they know everything, the know it alls, usually don't know much worth listening to. And the people who stay curious, those are the ones who keep growing. Those are the ones who keep their minds open. And to me, that's the best way to live, and those people keep their lives interesting. It never gets repetitive or boring or the same old stuff. Those are the ones who don't die mentally at 35 years old and just become a walking opinion or a walking keyboard ninja. No offense to the walking opinion. No offense to you guys out there, but I'm trying to stay alive in the mind and in my soul. That's kind of what the garage mind is. It's a place for thought. It's a place for stories. It's a place for fucking fun. It's a place for a little chaos. It's a place for perspective. And I think the garage itself is the perfect symbol for that. Like I said, if you listen to previous episodes, you'll know why. But I believe it's a symbol because the garage is never just a garage. Am I wrong? It's where you fix stuff. It's where you store stuff. It's where projects sit half finished for 6 months. I'm not going to say I've done that, but I might have. The garage is also where you need to go when you need a minute or you need a reset. It's where somebody says, I'll get to it later. And somehow that becomes a lifestyle. It's where real conversations happen. At least they did for me. Because nobody's lying to you. Because like in the garage or in that safe space, wherever it is, nobody's lying to you. And because it's also a place where nobody's trying really too hard. You're just there. You're talking. You're thinking. You're maybe drinking a little, maybe throwing a party. We used to do that a lot in the garage too as well. Maybe you're just drinking a bourbon. You're maybe looking at a motorcycle part you bought 3 months ago and still haven't installed the fucking thing. Or maybe you're just looking at your bike or your tools, just kind of drifting off in thought. That's life. And I love that. I love that this show has a place and a feeling. So going forward, guys, I want to keep building that. I want more honest episodes. I want more funny moments. I want, I want to make stories that make people laugh and think at the same time. I want more conversations that feel like they matter. They matter to you guys. I want more connection and I want to be part of it. So here's my ask for you guys. If this podcast has ever made you think, laugh, relate, or feel seen, share it with somebody who would get it, who understands, who is also like us on the Garage Mind. Send it to a friend, post it, tag me if you want. Comment your own story. Like I told you, I want to hear your guys' stories as well. Tell me what kinds of guests you want. Tell me what topics you want me to hit on. Tell me what you're curious about. We'll chase your curiosity. Because I want this to be a two-way thing, a two-way street, if you will. I don't just want, I don't want to just talk to people or, no, I mean, what am I trying to say? I just don't want to talk at people. I want to talk with you guys. And that's the big difference. That's the culture I want to build here. The Garage Mind should feel like a place where curiosity lives, where real people feel welcome, such as yourself, where nobody has to pretend to be something they're not. Almost like a digital garage. So if you're with that, if you're with me, if you're riding, my guys, let's fucking do this thing. And if you're with it, you're in the right place. And if you've been rocking with me from the get go, from the start, just know I see you and I appreciate you. We're building, we're building something here. It's going, it's good. I'm excited and it's only going to get better here. We're building it slowly, honestly, and one conversation at a time. And guys, that means more to me than trying to fake some giant overnight moment. I rather build, I rather build something real, something I'll leave you with, you know, that you can think about it throughout the week. So, guys, I'm going to leave you guys with something right now. Stay curious, stay funny, stay fucking grounded, stay dangerous in the sense that you keep thinking for yourself. Stay connected to people who actually bring something real to your life. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Real life, real stories, real people, real connection. That's the garage mind. Appreciate y'all for being here. See you on the next one. Peace.